Is this working? Okay, finally. Okay. Okay, we're continuing this. My feet are cold. And it's literally storming out, so why not cozy up and read Hall 17. So I'm gonna start reading. So yeah. No one's here yet, so I'll just start reading where we left off. I'm just gonna start to refresh my brain. It's been a while since I last read this. I think it was like Tuesday or something. Tistube entered the hotel. 8:05. A little late, but still enough time to grab extras for the subjects. Normally she only got extra plates when she'd be staying in for a project. For a particularly long time, this time she needed it for the two recent additions to her laboratory. Being that they only just went missing last night, their share of breakfast should still be made. Hey, Fan, Testube greeted, though Fan turned away from her. She was confused for a moment until she remembered last night. Oh, right, that happened. She held back a sigh as she sat next to him. Fan stood up and walked to another chair. Geez, what happened between you two? Trophy asked, twirling his fork. I'm gonna try to do my knife impression. I I give up. Okay, I give up. I don't think that's your business. Okay, I didn't give up. Knife said, eating his share of eggs. You're the one saying that. Even after last night's argument, Trophy said, shooting a look at Knife from across the table. OJ walked with his plate of food over to the table with Paper, who each sat in their usual spots. They didn't have reserved seats or anything, but they always sat in the same area, and nobody felt like interrupting their little routine. Salt looked at OJ longingly with a sigh, only to be brought to reality by Pepper's lightly elbowing her. Say, have any of you guys seen Soap? OJ asked, looking around the table. Now that it was brought to attention, people were realizing there was a number of people missing. See, this is what I was talking about. She disappeared last night mid-storm, and now she's probably dead in a ditch somewhere, Trophy said, specifically looking in Knife and Pickle's direction. Hey, it's not likely she's dead. Okay, am I picking? Okay, let me move it. Okay. Okay. She'd she probably went down to town and got tired. We had been running low on cleaning supplies lately. Anyways, Paper suggested. Nobody exactly believed Paper's explanation to it, though. It made more sense than her dying. God, you're all insufferable, Trophy said, hitting the table so hard it shook. She's not even the only person gone. Lightbulb and Paintbrush are nowhere to be seen either. And all on the same night. Calm down, Trophy. Calm down, Trophy. Paintbrush said they. 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 Gotta calm down. Gotta calm down. Paintbrush said they were going to go look for Lightbulb, since she wasn't in her room. OJ said, plate untouched as of then. He does have a point, though, Paper pointed out. Lightbulb and Soph, both people who are noticeable around the hotel, randomly disappeared after the anniversary party? There could be something going on in the shadows. Finally, someone who gets it, Trophy shouted, ignoring the looks he was getting. If they really are missing or dead, though, like you're suggesting, we'd have to wait 24 hours to submit a missing persons report. When the last night, when blah, when was the last time anybody saw them? OJ said, looking at everybody at the table. I saw Soap last, Pickle said, raising his hand to draw attention. She left the hotel saying that there was some sort of surprise she couldn't tell me about, and that the rest of the Grand Slams might tell me if I ask them. All right, so do any of the Grand Slams have any idea where she is? OJ asked. Oh, yeah, we totally do. We just let this conversation go on because we wanted entertainment, Nickel said, sarcastically. I'll take that as a no, OJ said. What about Lightbulb? Who saw her last? Fan and I did, Test Tube said, also raising her hand before lowering it. I had invited Fan and Lightbulb over to my lab since I needed help with a science project, though I sent them both back because Fan got hurt. One scratch isn't hurt, Fan said, pointing toward the small scab on his forehead. But yeah, she's right. I heard her telling Lightbulb to go when I was walking back, in the middle of the forest. May I mention? Golly, I'm sorry, Fan. I just didn't want to get hurt during the experiment. It could have been dangerous. One scratch, and the project had to do with plants. For God's sake! Not to mention you were the one who caused the injury, and that you third-wheeled me for 10 minutes. I actually got there. The 10 minutes. I actually got there. Hey, let's calm down. Maybe you two should settle this in private, Paper said, his plate just as untouched as OJ's. Fan and Test Tube ground. The latter picking up her plate and walking back into the kitchen to dispose of it. As Test Tube walked into the kitchen, she opened up the bag she had brought with and stuffed the food was left into her bag, putting the plate in the sink. Nobody had thought twice about the small bag she brought with her, as she always accidentally brought things from projects along with her. Most of the time she was in a rush and wanted to get to the hotel before everything was gone. Sometimes it was obvious she was midway through an experiment, especially the one time she busted in the building wearing safety glasses and a lab coat. It was normal, so everybody overlooked it. Test Tube walked past the table once more on her way out. She looked towards Fan, a fellow nerd, her best friend. He was still angry over what happened last night. She wished she could explain everything that she needed to say. She wouldn't have contain, so she wouldn't have to contain him like the others in the lab. But instead she said one thing, and she looked back at him. Once you want to talk about it, just call me. Fan looked back at her with a pained expression on his face. Test Tube walked through and out the door, then over to her lab. Things are gonna get bad. I do not like this. Going into the marshmallow voice because this is bad. This is really bad. Test Tube walked into the woods again. The ground was still mucky. Oh my gosh, thunder. Okay, why is this happening? Why? Oh no. There's thunder where I'm at, and that scared the hell out of me. Oh my gosh. Hopefully no one could hear this. So, yeah, okay. So, where were we? Okay. Test Tube walked into the woods again. The ground was still mucky from last night's storm. Conveniently enough, I'm having a storm right now, so that's saying a lot. Okay? The clouds were gray, but at least most of them trailing. Soap caused in the mud was washed away. Everything that was left was accessible as Test Tube oh my gosh, thunder again. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me just. Okay. I will have to do. So now, oh my gosh, no, more thunder. Oh my gosh, I might have to cut this short because there's too much noise. There's too much background noise. And no one's even watching this right now. So, like, I might just continue working on my gotcha reaction thing after this chapter. So, yeah. Everything was excusable as test tube walking through, so the problem was solved at least. As she entered the code into the vending machine, she'd hoped that Van would actually try to make up with her. She also hoped that feeding the subjects for the first time would go well. Hopefully, luck was on her side, because she needed it for this project. No, you don't. You literally kidnapped them. They're real people, test tube. Please understand that. I'm sure if you've done some sort of experiment just like, hey, I'm gonna do this experiment on you guys, so can you please go in these rooms? And then I'm pretty sure most of them would have denied except like some of her close friends like Lightbulb. So yeah. I'm losing my voice already. Test tube walked into the woods again. The ground. Oh wait, no, I already read that. Oh. As she entered the code. Oh my gosh, I keep rereading things. What time is it? Lightbulb opened her eyes slowly. She could only see faint outlines of her surroundings through the dark. She was still tired, exhausted even. She didn't want to get out of bed, though they were serving breakfast downstairs now. Around now, Yang would eat all of the bacon if she didn't come down fast. Her movements were slow. The party must have messed her up. What even happened at the party? Did she drink too much? The room wasn't hers. Was she still dreaming? Oh, Lightbulb, sweetie. Did you forget the sleepover? Okay, I shouldn't make fun of that. I'm not making fun of it, actually, no. Lightbulb thought it was a sleepover, and then she fell asleep thinking that was a dream, and then, oh my gosh. Eventually, Lightbulb's hand felt the light switch. She braced herself as she turned it on. Brightness surrounded her as she closed her eyes tight, though after a couple of seconds, she opened them again. Everything was still that shade of white, not dark enough to be gray, but not pure white either. It was all tinted yellow from the light. Must be the type of bulb light test tube uses. Lightbulb took a moment to recollect her surroundings. So it wasn't a dream, huh? She had some pretty questionable dreams sometimes. So it had been her first thought. Not that she had nightmares, just stuff that seems like it could maybe happen. She looked at the time, 8:34. Breakfast would be served now. In fact, they're probably finishing up cleaning right now. Oh wait, what? Oh, hello. Hello. I am in the middle of a thunderstorm where I am, so right now I'm just reading Halt 17. So yeah. People just curl up with a book by the fire or something with hot cocoa while it's raining. But for me, I'm laying on the floor with a stream, just reading Wattpad. I had a thunderstorm last night. Oh yeah, that's very convenient. Like that's a coincidence. I think I meant to say that's a coincidence. Also, in the story, they had a thunderstorm last night. So, huh? What is this trying to tell us? Okay. Want to me to recap what I've read so far? Okay, so basically, uh, so basically, let me try to think back. Let me think. People noticed that Lightbulb and Soap were missing because they were kidnapped. So yeah, and everyone is just questioned. And OJ's like, we have to wait 24 hours then. And Fan is still mad at Test Tube because of the little fight they had that I'm sure they could make up for in like a few like minutes, I'm sure. So, and right now we're at Lightbulb waking up, forgetting that she was kidnapped by Test Tube and thinking this was a slumber party. So, yeah, she's just this is her perspective on what is going on right now through her head, waking up in the morning in the room that Test Tube locked her up for her experiment. So, yeah, I hope that was a good enough recap. I'm not as good as the narrator from My Eye from season ones, but that's all you. Oh wait, I could say the line, and that's what you missed on Hall 17. I just remembered the soap incident. Yeah, the baseball bat. Oh, that is never good. That is never good. There's a great, by the way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just restart up this paragraph real quick. So yeah. Everything was still that shade of white, not dark enough to be gray, but not pure white either. It was tinted yellow from the light. Must be the type of light bulb. Ah, sorry. Must be the type of bulb test tube uses. Light bulb looked to. I'm messing up. Sorry. Lightbulb took a moment to recollect her surroundings. So it wasn't a dream, huh? She had some pretty questionable dreams sometimes. So it had been her first thought. Not to, that she had nightmares and stuff, just things that could maybe happen. She looked at the time. 8:34. Breakfast would be served now. In fact, they're probably finishing cleaning up right now. Lightbulb turned towards the window next. Soap was sitting on the bed. Her room's lamp was on and she was writing something in the book Testu gave her. Lightbulb walked over and knocked on the window. Good morning, Soap. Soap flinched at the sudden sound. Oh, just you, Lightbulb. Good morning. Aw, man. I'm, just you now? Lightbulb said, crossing her arms and pouting before cracking a smile. Ah, how long have you been up? I don't know. There isn't a clock in my room, Soap said, looking around as if one might appear. You were still asleep, so I decided to write what I remember in this notebook. I don't have a perfect memory, so I tend to write things down a lot. You never struck me as the type to have a bad memory. That's okay, though. My memory is sucky as well, Lightbulb said, beaming despite the situation. It's not necessarily bad, Soap said. It could just use some work. You can just say it's bad. There's no shame in that, Lightbulb said. It'll be a secret between us. Should I begin writing too, since I also have a bad memory? It's not, Soap tried to say, but couldn't complete her words. She instead settled for a sigh. I guess writing would also help your memory, so go ahead. You didn't you didn't to ask. I think they forgot the need. You didn't need to ask for permission though. It's not like I created the idea of journaling. You didn't? Are you joking? Lightbulb didn't respond, and instead grabbed her notebook. Okay, I'm good. Before she could write anything or even grab the pencil itself, the weird ring she heard yesterday came on again. She covered the sides of her head until the high-pitched noise stopped. She looked she looked back at Soap. She seemed equally startled, if not more. Sorry about that. The speaker system's alert feature is kind of loud, Test said. Per- presumably from the I'm very bad at reading. Presumably from the speakers. Since this is your first day, I'll explain it to you. The small trays in front of your rooms, or the deposits, will deliver food 3 times a day. They may also occasionally drop off other things. You may use them to give back things you no longer need, such as plates or silverware. Outside of that, we won't be interacting. Hold on, what? Soap said, freaked out by the sudden announcement. What do you mean, first day? Her question was left unanswered as her deposit opened. A hand, most likely test tube, slid in a plate with an egg and 2 pieces of bacon on it. Enjoy your food, Subject J2. Subject? Soap said frantically, refusing to go anywhere near the plate of food. Well, yes, you're subjects, both of you. I must have not made that clear. Let me recap for a moment. I brought you two here to be used as subjects for a science experiment. Surprise! Testube said. Lightbulb heard her voice crack near the end. Well, I didn't crack at the end, so, I'm sorry. I don't think I agree to this, Lightbulb said. Oop, too late. Yeah. Watching the same food be given to her. That's more true, so J2 over there. I asked you for help with an experiment, and you agreed. With no hesitation, Testube said. There was the small bit of guilt tinted in her voice. Unless you have any actual questions, I'll be leaving. You can't leave us here, Soap said, eyes beginning to tear up. That's illegal. We're our own people. I have to get back to the hotel. OJ, they'll realize we're missing. Okay, sorry for so much emotion in that. She broke down into half-hearted sobs, with heavy breaths, curling on the bed. The sounds of test tubes' footsteps and the hall doors closing found their way into the silence of the rooms. Lightbulb stood in the center of her room. She could hear Soap crying. She was trying to calm herself down, though it wasn't exactly working. Are you okay? Lightbulb asked. Do I look okay? Soap sobbed, looking up at Lightbulb through the window. Not really, Lightbulb said. Everything is going to be okay, alright? She tried to comfort Soap, but attempt didn't have much of an effect. Deep breaths? Soap looked blankly through the window. I just I didn't I don't get why. Why us? Why now? I wish I was back at the hotel right now, helping clean up after breakfast, listening to Trophy tease me about something stupid, and even though I know he's a prick, it's better than being locked down here for the rest of forever. What am I now? Some stupid test subject? No, Soap, don't have a mental breakdown. She's having a mental breakdown. And so far, this is literally chapter 3 too. So like, we're gonna have to deal with Soap's sadness for like a bunch of time. So that's sad. Oh, let me try this out. So, Lightbulb stood still. What was there to say? The more she listened, the more she couldn't help but see how Soap saw the situation. Exactly how long was this going to go on exactly? Maybe we should be more optimistic? Lightbulb suggested. How am I supposed to be optimistic now? She Soap asked. Sh- We're s- ah, we're stuck underground, locked in a room, and for all we know, we weren't going to be used as lab rats. Tell me, what could possibly be the bright side here? Lightbulb didn't know what to say. She was so used to just joking the situation off, and now, for the first time since what was probably 2 years ago, she was confronted with something that even disturbed her. I'm sorry, Lightbulb said, sitting down on the bed opposite of hers. Soap looked back in despair. No, you didn't do anything wrong. Don't be sorry, she said, uncurling from her ball. In fact, I should be sorry. You weren't just trying to cheer me up, and I started shouting at you. I'm just so frustrated. No, it's more of panic than anything. Listen, what I mean is to say is I'm sorry. Lightbulb looked at Soap and stood up. It's fine. I forgive you. Everybody gets a little upset sometimes. Her voice was still upset, though the soft smile on her face reassured Soap. Imagine at the last couple of chapters there is just one person left in the hotel. Oh my gosh, just test tube kidnapping. She just abducts everyone one by one, and she's just like, okay, you're all my test subjects, and you're probably gonna call me out for the police, so I'm just gonna keep you all down here for eternity, and yeah. I feel like Miphone would do something about that, though. And how this happens. I mean, we imagine test tube against who would so um I think she could lose to Knife and I think a few other people that I can't think at this moment. So let's just see how this plays out. Let me see where I left off. Where did I leave? Oh, okay. I think I know something good this has caused, Soap said. It got us to talk to each other. You're actually a really nice person, and I would have never actually talked to you if it weren't for this. There's that optimism. Soap, I mean, not Soap. Lightbulb cheered, clapping. Now, we should probably eat our food. It's getting cold. She walked over to the deposit, as Test Tube called it. The food was already cold when they grabbed their plates, though. That couldn't be helped, though. It was almost 9, an hour past when it was made. As they ate together, Lightbulb looked at Soap. She still looked mal- melancholy. I cannot read that. Oh, I feel like Test Tube could lose to Knife Trophy Microphone. I mean, Knife and I'm not Knife. Microphone and Test Tube kind of had this dynamic going in season 2 where like Test Tube was just pissed at Microphone for seeing her lab and just was at her throat. It was more one-sided, and then even when Test Tube was eliminated, Test Tube was like still mad at Microphone. I don't even know if their like what is it called? Their little feud even got healed during the whole what do we call it? Cobb situation. So let's just hope that they are on better terms. Or that's something we could kind of hope for to see is just more of the contestants talking and seeing how they settle their issues after the show. So yeah. As they ate together, Lightbulb looked at Soap. She still looked and oh my gosh, I'm not melancholy. Melancholy as she munched on her bacon carefully. She was a little distressed from the grease, though that clearly wasn't the main bother. Hey, Soap, said Lightbulb, gaining the other's attention. Okay. Okay. Oh. What did I? Okay. My brain shut off for a second and I zoned out and I forgot what I was doing. Okay, now I remember. So let me see. Don't think about it too much. No bad vibes here, alright? Soap smiled warmly. I'll try my best. Once they finished eating, they put their plates in the deposit. When Test Tube came back to pick them up, Lightbulb spoke up. Hey, Test Tube, could I have some crayons or markers? She asked, looking at her through the deposit. ... I guess. There's nothing wrong with that, Test Tube said, stacking Lightbulb's plate on Soap's. All right, Lightbulb said cheerfully. She looked over at Soap, who was visibly agitated at Test Tube's arrival. She also seemed off put by the grease that was still on her fingers due to lack of utensils. And one more thing, could you get some paper towels for Soap? Aw, that's nice. And we got, what is log O? Oh, this is, okay, log O. Okay. I think this is, okay, let me just read this. I was confused. I thought this was an author's note for a second. Okay, let me read this. Hello to whoever is reading this. These are my loggings for my newest experiment. I haven't decided on what to call it, though. I'll update them then. All precautions and needed materials for the projects are available, and the test subjects have been gathered. While there is a couple other things I will need to do truly begin the project, I am ready to begin the first few tests if I need to. Both subjects obtained so far are contained in separate rooms, with a window in between them, and under close watch by security cameras. Visit the photo above if you are curious on what they look like, the rooms. Both subjects have been passive towards each other so far, chatting with each other constantly. E1 has an optimistic view on the situation and is set on cheering J2 up. J2, in response, tries to be happier and share E1's point of view. Both have grown surprisingly close in the day they've been together. I was thinking of soundproofing their walls, however. I'm just curious about what will happen if I let them talk to each other. I need a minimum data from E1, having known her pre-experiment and knowing her personally. Any extra time spent delaying her first test is purely collecting data on how she'll act now that she is contained or preparing for another other parts of the project. I'm thinking of starting her bit of the project within the week, so both subjects know why they're here. The project sounds so scary, since I don't think we know what it is right now. Yeah, right now we have no clue. TestTube is not sharing what the project is right now. So, like, okay, we're back to TestTube's perspective. Let me reread that real quick. I'm thinking of starting her bit of project between this week, so both subjects know why they're here. I don't think they know why they're here though. Yeah, no one knows it. The only thing they know is that they're gonna be experimented on. I don't think they know what they're gonna be doing, test tube. Okay. I need a minimum data collection from E1. Having known her pre-experiment and knowing her personally, any extra time spent delaying her first test is purely collecting data on how she'll act now that she is contained, or preparing for other parts of the project. I'm thinking of starting her bit of the week within this week, so both subjects know they're here. I think I reread that part, so my bad. Test tube stared at the computer screen. The line blinked on and off after the last words. Asking if she had any more to write, her hands hovered over the keyboard, just above the keys. Was she really doing this? To the person she considered her friend? Friend? No. Tester couldn't use that word anymore. She was E1, the lab rat in the white padded room. Okay, well that was mean. Now test tube switched up so quickly in this experiment. This is so out of character. I swear this gotta be so out of character. I mean, she was literally made to be a stereotypical science geek, but like this is she grew into her person to care about her family and friends more. So, like, this just seems so uncanny to me. Oh my gosh. No, this is. Did she just call Lightbulb a rat? I think so. And that's not nice. That's your friend you're talking about, Testu. I feel like Testu reacting to most of this fan fiction of her being this wild scientist is just gonna be. I feel like I want to know a canon answer. Someone better ask that as a question for like for Adam and Brian to see what Testtube's canon answer would be to reading the fan fiction. And just fans be like, Testube, there's a lot of fan fiction of you being this evil scientist. What do you have to say for that? And then she just responds, "This makes me angry. Just be glad this isn't canon, okay?" Imagine that does happen though. As an April Fool's joke, they make this canon. No, don't even say that. Oh my gosh, why am I saying this? Okay, she was E1, the lab rat in the white padded room, placed there to prevent her from shattering. Oh, the painfulness of choosing her, of all people, as a subject was how her personality brought so much happiness and a longing to be friends again. If the test goes right, that should change. If the test goes right, that should change. That was a repeat because it says it twice here. Oh no. No, they're gonna do something to Lightbulb. Not Lighty. Not Lightbulb. Please. Please not Lightbulb. She's gonna do something to her and now I'm scared. I was always scared, but still, no! If the test goes right, it should change. No! Testube deleted that part of the text and typed down her new thoughts. I plan on doing E1's first test over tomorrow. As I already have the needed procedure data, J2, on the other hand, I will have to save that for later, even after gaining the next subject. Test read over the document again. That sounded about right. Enough for her to understand, anyways. If she ever released the information, which was highly unlikely, then why are you doing this? If you're not even gonna publish it, why are you doing this experiment? Why are you doing this experiment if you're not even gonna publish the research you do? I mean, I guess you could just save it for another person to reread this and just think, "Wow, this person is a monster. They're literally using their own friends, just friends or people they recognize as test subjects." You know how wrong that is? First you called them a rat, and now you're going to test on them? I'm angry. Me too. I'm angry, but also scared at the same time right now. Test tube is just so out of character, and I hate this. I hate this, and I'm scared, but it's so good and well written that I have to read this. Okay. Which was highly unlucky she would rewrite it. Biz test tube flinched at the sound of her phone ringing. She looked at who was calling. Fan, hesitant, she accepted the call. Hello, Fan, Test Tube said, an unfortunate feeling washing over her. Test Tube, some certain people came to me with advice, and I'd like to talk about what happened yesterday, like the civilized adults we are. Okay, Fan said. Test Tube's face lit up at that sentence. Okay, what part do you want to start at? And that's where the chapter ends. Please go kidnap someone else, like Box. I don't know. Just not the. Yeah, kidnap Box, because in this timeline, Box is just Box. So, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Let me do something real quick. Let me show you what this looks like. Okay. Okay. We have we have a warning, which isn't usually good. Where is my camera? Okay. We have a warning. It says trigger warnings. Needles, involuntary surgery, medical trauma in general. Also, massive torture warning. 3/4 of this chapter is just torture scene. I probably should have added less detail on. Oh! This is not gonna be good. I am not. No. This is, we're gonna. Oh no. I don't want to read this. Oh no. Okay, I think we could take a break from that and read some fluff. Okay, let me find some fluff. We're not reading this yet. We're taking a break from that and just reading fluff, okay? Do surgery a fan. I could care less about him. Okay. 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 I'm gonna try to do my fan impression right now. That is okay, fan would cry at hearing that. Okay. Fan is my one of my kin characters, so yeah. That kind of says something. So yeah, let's just refresh. We take breather. Let me try to find some fluff. Okay, what do I even put in for the II? Inanimate insanity. Let me search up my ships. Jeez. Inanimate insanity. Insanity. Did I even spell that right? Yeah, probably. Okay. Okay. Oh no, no. What is this? What is this? This scares me even more. What the heck? Let me show you. There's another one. How do I point my camera? Okay. My camera sucks. Okay, let me. There. That's what we're reading after that, so let me save that. But right now, we just gotta find some fluff. Okay, so let me try to find some fluff right now. I'm really trying to find some fluff. Oh my gosh, why is this just a trend? There's a bunch of fanfiction with Testo being this. This just awful. Let me try to find BFDI fluff, because that's gonna be better. Actually, I think I have something in mind. Let me try to find it. Oh my gosh, wait, this has been updated. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Let me just read the fluff then. It's basically, what's your opinion on Fire Oni? The ship between Fiery and Coiny. My top 5 II characters are Lightbulb, Yin Yang, Goo, Paintbrush, and Balloon. That is very cool. And voice. Oh wait, no, Justin got canceled, so I can't say that anymore without crying. Okay, let's just ignore I said that. Ugh. Okay. No, because now I'm sad. Who's gonna do Goo? Who's gonna do Goo? Okay, let's just change the subject. So now we're reading this fan fiction of Fiery and Coiny by Puddin' Pop, who is going through something, but they managed to upload this on my birthday, surprisingly enough. So, yeah. When Fiery had awoken due to the morning sunrise shining through the window, he had shifted his head to his right, expecting to see the coin that had taken him in yesterday. However, a look of surprise planted on his face when he realized he wasn't there. His attention then turned towards the door when he heard the familiar voice of sizzling and smelled the faint aroma of bacon. It almost made his mouth water. He got up and headed to the kitchen. The sound growing louder, and the scent growing as the closer he got. Fun fact, I never ship anything in BFDI. Understandable. There's just too many characters, and I don't think they actually touch on that. I mean, I guess the Algebraians have that taken care of for the shippers. Like, the Michael and Carrie are just like, you want romance? Here, have 0 crushing on 15. Or you could take these scenes with 4 and X best friends out of context. So yeah, we're just reading this to get to clean our palates at least from the trauma train we're about to enter. I see many people as best friends than lovers. That's fair. That's fair. There's too many characters, and then there's too many ships. Me being a multi-shipper, this is literally just like a tsunami on me with a bunch of characters that, like, I just scroll on TikTok, see edits of 2 characters that probably never even interacted, and be like, that's a nice rare pair, and yeah. Before the Doom chapter, that's its new name, the Doom chapter. The Doom chapter. Oh, the Doom chapter. Okay, we're just gonna scroll past most of this then, since context for this Fiery X Coiny thing. Basically, Pin had a birthday party. You know, oh my gosh. Okay, one sec. Oh my god, what the? Okay, I'm back. Oh my gosh. Okay, gotta go again. People. Oh god. Okay, people are kind of bothering me right now, so I gotta end this. So we'll start with the trauma train next time. So yeah, that was it. And I'll read the first line, like I do usual when I end stream. Test tube entered the hotel. Wait, no, I already read this. This was chapter 3. Oh my gosh. Oh, over Morrow. And it's officially been 24 hours since their last appearances, OJ said, looking up at the clock. That's another problem to manage now. Great. Calm down, OJ. Everything will be all right, Paper said, patting his shoulder. OJ gave a tired smile, though quickly turned back to his desk. He was doing some paperwork for the hotel. As usual, he had to stay up until midnight to get it all done. If you want, I can take care of the problem if you if with the missing people, Paper said to in an attempt to cheer OJ up. No, Paper, it's fine. I let the party happen anyways. My hotel, my responsibility. Thanks for the offer, though. OJ, you already have a lot on your mind, Paper said. His face showed its concern and care, and his hands were folded together. If been spared of nightmares today. Everything is not going to be okay. Well, the opening scene for this so far is literally just Paige, so maybe that was just the author trying to just gently let us easily dip into this drama train of everyone. So let me just finish reading the Page part and then we'll end this. Actually, I might not end this. Actually, I don't know. We're still on the base because there's like people in my house. People being people I live with, aka relatives, and they could be quote unquote annoying at times. So yeah, I'll try to get as much through without being interrupted. Okay. You already do mass amounts of paperwork every night, and now there's people missing. I don't want you to overworking yourself if like you do. I think I can handle one more task, even if it's something as big as this. You do you not remember the last time I let you run the complaints desk? OJ argued. That was just one thing. As well, maybe you could be helpful by doing some of the smaller work while I work on the case. Paper side. All right, but if it gets too stressful, please say something. I want to be as much help as I can. He weakly smiled at OJ, who smiled back at him. You should probably get some sleep now, OJ said, yawning. So should you. I don't think it would be a good for you to pull another all-nighter, especially if you're insisting on helping with the missing cases. Paper argued. I will. Just a few more papers, OJ said. All right, Paper said. He didn't quite believe him. Just don't overwork yourself. I'll be here if you need me. Good night. Don't worry, I won't. Good night, Paper, OJ said tiredly, looking up at his work. Paper, you cannot handle this task. Paper cannot handle this task after finding out the surgery that is going to happen after this fluff or whatever you call this beginning opening. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I already see their names, Lightbulb and Soap's names popping up as I scroll more down. Paper was glad he was content, though still worried for him. This whole missing situation had put a lot of pressure on him. Paper hoped OJ would reach out to him if he needed to. When Paper checked on OJ in the early morning, he was asleep, still at his desk, as he was every other night. Hopefully this will end soon. No, it won't end soon, Paper. We have 51 more chapters after this, buddy. And I'm pretty sure a few of them are author's notes. Okay, never mind. None of them are author's notes. A lot of them are just, oh no, we're not. We're gonna die. This is so scary. This chapter, it's like you ask someone to pinch you and they hit you with a baseball bat. That's a nice reference to Soap getting hit with a baseball bat in the second chapter. Oh, we're starting off really well. And you know how their hair catches fire when they're angry? That ended up happening, and it burnt the whole project. Lightbulb said, making I don't know how to read that. Hand motions. Oh, we're at the part where Lightbulbs and so. Oh no! It's sad knowing that their fate is sealed. Well, Lightbulb's fate, at least. That's what Test Tube said, so... Oh no, Lightbulb's cooked. Lightbulb's cooked. I am so scared. Wait, hold on. Her hair sets on fire when she's angry? Soaps asked. They're a they, Lightbulb corrected. And it does. And they're really angry. it can spread around them as well. Like boom! Wow, that seems interesting. Doesn't don't they have anger issues though? Yep. The fire only happens when they're enraged though. And even then they try their best to keep it in. They don't like messing up their bristles. Man, I wish I had bristles instead of glass. Go away, test tube. No one wants you here today. Yeah, test tube. Just quit while you're ahead. I mean, you already have them contained, and if you just promise them, if you they promise, I mean, test tube. Just stop, please, please, please. I don't want to read 51 more chapters of you torturing our favorite characters. Lipa was midway through pouting about her lack of hair when the speakers began ringing again. Luckily, it stopped after a few seconds. I'm never gonna get used to that, Soap said, letting her hands drop to her sides. Good evening, subjects. I'd like to say that I will be taking E1 for a couple hours, possibly until tomorrow, if complications appear, Test Tube said. Lightbulb could hear the hallways open faintly from outside her door. What? Soap said, frazzled. Why do you need to take her? What are you even gonna do? Well, Test Tube didn't answer her question as she opened the door to Lightbulb's room and took her by the wrist. Huh? Lightbulb said, stumbling a little from the forced moment. She looked at Soap as she was dragged out. Soap looked back with a worried look on her face. She was closer to the glass than normally as well, her palm resting flat upon it. Lightbulb waved goodbye clumsily as she left the room, giving an awkward smile. This time, Soap still seemed concerned. The last thing Lightbulb saw from her room was the other girl's concerned face, while looking straight at her. As Test Tube closed the door, the scientist locked it and continued with her journey. Please stop. It's too late. Sigh. It's time. It's time, Lightbulb. I'm sorry, sweetie. If it's too gory or something, I'll literally just show you what it says because I am not reading something that includes gore. Actually, I'm literally doing that right now. What am I saying? Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna show you things that have inappropriate descriptions of bloody stuff. Okay. Being on the hard floor again after being in that room is kind of weird, Lightbulb said to Test Tube as they left the hall. You know, Lightbulb, there's a simple solution. Die. Like, I know you. Hear me out on this. Me phone could revive people, and this was before, um, like everything, Cobb situation. So, just just die, Lightbulb. If you die right now, you could escape this. You could die, and me phone's gonna get the notification from Me Life and revive you, and then you could tell everyone that Test Tube's psycho. So please, just die, Lightbulb. Please, please. Just you gotta shatter or something, and then you're gonna be revived. Please, please, just do that. I know that sounds wrong because I'm just saying that she should die, but like in this timeline, me phone could still revive her. So please, just die so you could be revived, and then Test Tube could die permanently because everyone's gonna be after her. But then she's gonna have Soap as a hostage. So I guess I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying random things, hoping to stall this twisted fate. Oh my gosh. Lightbulb said to Test Tube as they left the hall. Test Tube didn't spare so much as a glance at her on their walk. After a minute or so, some keypads and another confusing maze of twists and turns, they landed in the room. It appeared Test Tube was looking for. Surrounding the room's walls were counters filled with things with sheets on top of them, cleaning supplies and tools. Lightbulb doubted anyone else she knew could name. In the center of the room was a table with four restraints. Oh yeah, we are gonna be crying. Four restraints. For limbs, presumably, it laid flat on its oddly shaped legs and had a white blanket over half of it. The testing room. It's the testing room. Oh gosh. Whoa, it's just like in the movies. Umga. Lightbulbs, please, just realize the danger you're in right now, Lightbulb exclaimed. She tried to run over to one of the counters to investigate, but she was yanked back by Test Tube. Don't touch anything. It's prepared for any emergencies, and I don't want you getting anything on the tools. I just sanitized them a minute ago, she said, walking to another other the table instead. Now, Ewan, could you do me a favor and lie down on the table and stop trying to be all friendly with me? That's the first one. Seems easy enough, Lightbulb said, hopping on the table and flopping onto her back. It was uncomfortable due to the object spearing her head. Though she. Though, please, I don't want to have nightmares of test tube testing on Lightbulb, please. Then why are you still here? Oh my gosh. I don't want to give people nightmares. Oh, no. That sounds bad. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Especially since you're so nice. Okay? Uh, uh, let me just see what's ahead. Let me just read a few more, and if things get gory, I'll stop. No, I'm kidding. I won't have no nightmares. Okay? Okay. So, let's just be in the clear of the gore. So, yeah, last warning to anyone watching, this is gonna start being more graphic, and I will read that out loud, or try to at least, without, with, I'll try, but I will say I'm gonna be disturbed if something gross happens, so, yeah. It was uncomfortable due to the object's cerebral head, though nothing she didn't deal with trying to sleep every night. The metal was cold against her back, albeit also metal. Without warning, the four restraints closed around her wrist and ankles. I think the table's malfunctioning. No, that was the purpose. That was on purpose, Tessu said. She was standing next to Lightbulb at the side of her table, next to something Lightbulb couldn't see. I'm going to need you to be cooperative for a bit, okay? If you are, I can prevent unnecessary pain and injury. I don't know what about this, Lightbulb said, though her words were ignored like everything else. Test tube slanted the table so Lightbulb could see the floor in the very bottom of her vision. Where did I leave off? I already lost my place. Lightbulb could see the floor at the very bottom of her vision. Her feet were standing on a piece of metal connected to the bottom of the table in her limited view of the area. She saw test tube filing a needle with something from a bottle of anesthesia. Test tube, can we be serious about this? I don't like needles. Could I, get off this ride? No response. Test tube, please. It's beginning to get annoying and kind of scary, honestly. Still no response. Test tube made sure the syringe's contents lined up with the measurements she needed, and turned around seemingly content with the amount. Testy, please, Lightbulb tried to ask one more time, but that seemed to be too much for Test Tube. She put the syringe back on the tray and grabbed a handkerchief next to her instead of marching over to Lightbulb and trying to middle into the knot. What are you? Before she could finish her sentence, the quickly made gag was shoved onto Lightbulb's mouth. Don't call me that, Test Tube said. Past the glare she shot, Lightbulb could see it was hurting her to do this. That's what she had looked like ever since the anniversary party. Now that Lightbulb thought back on it, Test Tube wandered back to the table. Lightbulb couldn't help but notice how she emptied the needle a little more as if on impulse, not bothering to measure the new half dose. I was going to give you enough to make you pass out entirely, but now I'm realizing I need to stop you from thinking we're friends. Test tube! Okay. Lipo felt herself shaking in her binds. A little as test tube walked towards her, syringe in hand. She had slipped on a surgical mask as well and had a lab coat, fitting for the situation. Also, as if she was simply a doctor going to operate on a patient, or an actor for a movie involving a scene, such as. Oh, wait, no, let me read that. As a scene. Okay, involving a scene as such. Test tube rubbed Lightbulb's arm with something that felt moist. But before she could wonder what it was, the needle was jabbed in her, and injected with that, test tube had left the anesthesia dosed. It felt a bit nauseating, though it was quick. Lipo could still feel it enter her bloodstream, something she hadn't felt with other shots she had at the doctor's office. After almost After most of the liquid had been injected, test tube removed the needle and put a small band-aid over it. The dot of red. Lightbulb already felt herself spacing out as her mind became hazy. Wow, that stuff really works fast, huh? She said. Well, at least she tried to say that. The gag and sudden lack of energy made it come out as incomprehensible nonsense. That's so mean. Just getting rid of the rat, as you call her. That is so mean. Testu. Testu. We're just gonna have an intervention with you right now. Why do you do this? And I know you can't talk back since you're just fan fiction, but still. But why do you do this? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? Okay? Why do you do this, Testu? Why? Okay. Okay. We're back. Lipo didn't necessarily feel tired, but she definitely wasn't fully awake. Her body felt slack, and her vision blurred a little, not letting her see which tools test tube brought over from the table. Everything was fine. The fear that cozered her had left. She had hardly feel the sore spot on her arm from the shot, and the cold metal didn't seem to exist. It wasn't almost as if she was drunk. Sure, there was a little weird feeling around her metal base and glass head met, but it was ignorable. She could fall asleep like this if she wanted to. Lightbulb stayed in that exact blissful state for a while. She didn't know how long the anesthesia must have messed with her sense of time, but for a while, very few things existed for her. And then came a splitting pain around that where Testu was messing around. Lightbulb's eyes snapped open, light blinding her. She gasped out of the combination of the shock and pain. Her body tried to jolt upwards, but the blinds kept it from being anything more but than shaking. Then it struck again, making tears form at the object's eyes. Agonizing strike after agonizing strike was blown. Lightbulb could feel her glass cracking, splintering, like wood was has something chipped it a bit and bit off. She tried to look down to see what was happening, but even if she had been in the line of vision, her eyes were a blurry mess. She tried to scream as loud as she could, to say something, but she couldn't hear herself no matter what. No matter how hard she tried, Lipo had never once wanted to be out of a situation so badly. It was agonizing, and just like it had been with peace, it felt never nerve-ending. Wait, what? Maybe test tube should go insane asylum. Is she hitting her with a hammer or something? I don't know. Hello, fire. What perfect timing. We were just reading about Lightbulb being tortured. Um, yeah. This was recommended to me on TikTok by no one, literally just someone just like, "If you're ready for a trauma train, read Hall 17." So I decided to take that risk and take some people with me to see if this will do anything, and now we're here. And we're almost done with the chapter, so, let's just hope this gets over with soon. Yeah, okay, let me reread this. Le Okay, she had a yeah, it oh, great timing for me. Yeah, such a great timing. Part light bulb. Light bulb's a fan favorite, and she's getting this treatment, and I don't think she deserves this. And she doesn't. She doesn't. Okay. I'm about to try to find this test tube, and the kidnap her tube. I'm about to try and find this test tube and kidnap her. Yeah. Okay. Test tube when you're sleeping. We're gonna give you the same treatment since you're made out of glass too. So we already gave you your warning, test tube. But like in most of these fan fictions, test tube dies at the end. She never has to face the consequences. She just dies. So like she dies permanently in every fan fiction I've read so far where she goes insane and traps her friends. So the only good ending is that test tube gets served to justice and dies. So that's good news. But if she doesn't die in this fanfic, then I'd have no idea what's gonna happen at the end of this fanfic. Oh my gosh. Now we're back. It was agonizing, and just like it had been with the piece, it never felt no restrictions. She had to get out. She needed to. She couldn't take the exgrabable agony of a moment longer. After a while, it stopped. There was still a horrible aching where test tube had been tinkering, but it was at least bearable. If Lightbulb had shallow breaths and stayed, Lightbulb had if it as still as possible, that was providing. That was proving hard, however, as every few seconds an uncontrollable sob came out of the girl. If a tree could feel, Lightbulb was sure this was what it would experience as it was being cut down. Even now, she wished she could just pass out. Remember, E1? The reason you're still conscious is because you've been obstructing the experiment along the way. While I'd prefer to be merciful during surgeries, you brought this upon yourself. She didn't do shit! You piss me off, Testu. Why? Why are you doing this to my girl? Please, please stop this. Imagine in this one, she kidnaps everyone. I think so far, Testu mentioned that she's just gonna do with the experiment, or the subjects, I guess, that she calls them for right now. So, yeah. I wonder who her next victims are gonna be after this. Let's pray it isn't anyone who is our favorite characters. So, like, predict who is gonna be Test Tube's next victim right now. You Test Tube, you are doing this, not Lipo. Fanfic Test Tube is so mean. Fanfiction Test Tube is mean, and her fate is always death. The only good time find a good test tube is in this one fanfiction, which is FanTube. Okay, I feel like in the ships fluff stuff fanfiction, test tube's just test tube. But in like any fanfiction where she's just the crazy scientist, yeah, I'm pretty sure she's evil. I think Paper, because why not? Paper is gonna get kidnapped. OJ is gonna be like regretting everything, and she's just gonna be like, "Why didn't I just let him help me? He was just trying to be a nice person." And then yeah, so let's see if you're right about that in like a few chapters, because so far it just looks like this chapter is gonna be about light bulbs. Um, what do we even call this? Torturing, I guess. Oh, Lighty. Lighty. Test tube said uncharismatically, while messing with some of her tools. When Lightbulb looked down, she could blurrably. It's Hop, not Hajib. 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 It's Hop, not Hajib. Paper. It's Hop. It's Hop. It's Hop. Okay, I say this right now. It's Hop. Paper's finals words. I don't know what Paper's finals words are right now because right now it's just a light bulb and soap being kidnapped. Paper's last words from this chapter though are um I'm pretty sure it was, let me check actually. I'll check after we finish this real quick. It's Hop. It is Hop. It's Hop. It's Hop. It's Hop. Not Hajib. It's not Hajib. Okay, it's Hop. It's Hop. Okay, it's Hop. Okay. I'm not gonna get into this debate right now though because we kind of have to wrap this up, but still, we'll get into this and then clean our palettes and then yeah. It's Hajib. Don't you get into this argument with. Okay, that was in a joking matter. I know this is just a joke. I know this silly little like argument and debate is just silly, but like it's Hop. It's Hop. It's Hop. And then there's people saying it's a whatever. What is it called? What is it called? I don't know. There was another one for it, but I forgot. But now it doesn't even matter actually. This debate doesn't even matter because the hotel is called something else. And we still don't know what the name is because we didn't get that answer at the end of the season. So, yeah. Okay, we're just getting into debates about this. I think if you ask an object show fan what their what their favorite debate is just gonna be Hajip and Hop. So yeah. Let's just go back to this. Test tube said uncharismatically while messing with some of her tools. When Lightbulb looked down, she was blurrily see the mess that was made. Apart from the parts she recognized as herself and the table, there was a blur of red splattered around. There was a cloth around the wounds. Once she realized exactly what Test tube had done, Lightbulb felt like throwing up. Me too. I feel like throwing up too right now. Not really though. I'm just more disturbed. And the thunderstorm finally ended where I was because it was storming right now, but now it's gone. Phew. There was an entire piece of glass missing. Cracks seemed spread out from around all around, surrounding the entire bottom half of Lightbulb's body. When she looked beside, she saw the missing piece lying out on an equally bloody tray. Lipo gagged, and a moment later she gave in to the nausea. There hadn't been much of a fight, being that she was sedated not too long ago. That time, she did hold back. Had been just enough for a test tube to notice and hold a bucket up to her mouth. Though sickness dripped from around the gag, avoiding her vomit again. And she's puking. Look what you've done, test tube. You made Lipo puke because you literally cut a chunk of her stomach out. Like, that's so disturbing. Oh no, I can picture that. Ugh. It's supposed to be to rain 8 to 9 weekdays this week. It's from Sunday to Tuesday. Maybe where you are. I have no idea. Well, I don't know if that's the same because we have different time zones, so I'm pretty sure we live in different places. So I have no clue. Right? It rains. Okay, it rains. Sometimes it snows. It hailed today for me. So yeah, I am not prepared for this weather. It's supposed to be spring. Okay, I get it. Spring showers, but not thunderstorms and hail, okay? Oh my gosh. Like maybe Lipo needs a cookie pizza. That'll definitely fix things. That'll definitely fix things. The cookie pizza. Test tube, if we could do this one little inhumane act before committing to this role. Actually, you already committed to this role, but if you could time travel back and just give Lipo a cookie pizza, that would make everything happen. It's been raining, really raining where I live. Been really raining where I live. You live in Canada. I know that because I tune into your streams. And I know that's just out of context, that sounds creepy, but like I watch your streams and they're really fun to be at. So yeah, that's where I know. So I guess around the world it's been rainy. Okay. Once Lightbulb had finally finished, Test Tube switched the gag out. As much as she wanted to, Lightbulb couldn't think of anything to say to Test Tube to get her to stop. She I messed up. Okay. Okay, I've been talking a lot lately. Ow. Okay. Test tube to get her to stop. She wasn't exactly in the state to beg, anyways. She still stayed shaking from the ineffable burst of pain that were only getting worse. The more she shook, the more pain she felt. The less control she had. The less control, the more she'd accidentally breathe too hard or whimper uncontrollably. A vicious cycle she'd do anything to get rid of. Lightbulb watched helplessly as Testu picked up another trill from the tray beside her. She reached into, oh god, not Testu, Lightbulb couldn't look. She vomited again. Live in the USA. I live in the USA too. I'm not gonna say much about that anymore because then, yeah, it's just been rainy. It's a rainy season. Spring showers. And now, right now, we have this. We're so close to the end of Lightbulb suffering, so yeah. Oh my gosh. We're so close to the end of this. Please, please, please. Please. The more she wished the anesthetic would pull her out of this, the more it seemed to wear off. At least the blood loss made her feel lightheaded, bringing her away from the scene in front of her just a smidge. After what must have been a second eternity, Test stopped for a moment. Lightbulb was hesitant to look down again, still sobbing. After taking a minute to prepare herself, she looked down to see the new damage. Though her clear glass body, she saw blood pooling out at the metal part. Oh no. There were parts that had obviously used to house some part of her. The were now empty gaps where blood flowed and gathered. She didn't have very many organs, with a good percentage of her body being glass or air, but some of the few did have at her metallic base were now visible. She had to keep herself from getting sick. She turned back towards the table to see exactly what had been removed. On a tray separate to the missing piece of Lippo's body, there was a pile of wires and other electrical things. In fact, it was almost all electrical stuff, and in a terrifying amount. Then it soaked Stern. What does not Lipo, Test to want with Soap's organs? Or whatever she's harvesting. What could Soap give her? Okay, her name's Soap. There's gonna be soap in her head because she's Soap. Oh my gosh. There's nothing. You don't have to dissect people, Test Tube. That's weird. I'm pretty sure that test tube, the whole experiment is just leaving them in the room. It's psychological. Why do you need to pull out their organs? My gosh. She's going to eat it. Why would she eat it? No! Test tube just eats it. She's like, now I could glow. And then she dies. So, yeah. That's great. That's great. This is not great. I know, but I'm just trying to deny it. I'm in denial. I'm swimming in the river in Egypt right now. I mean, JK, disgusting and disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Next to her was a blood bag that had a tube connecting to her arm. A few bits of hope the short break had given her were shattered once test tube came in with an entire flame torch in her hand. What are you gonna do with that? You're gonna melt her? What? What? Flame torch. Flame torch in her hand. She tried to beg once more for mercy, to just leave her to be and stop, but the gag cut her cries short. Lightbulb didn't know exactly which variable made her pass out. Maybe the pain that, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't be able to put into words. Maybe it was that when Test Tube decided to use the flame torch right next to her organs. She was burning her organs? What is going on? This is so disturbing. No, Test Tube, stop this. Oh, we're telling you to stop this while you're ahead, Test Tube, but you're not making this easy. You're not making this easy. Oh no. Decided to use while reattaching the missing pieces of glass. Oh, that is so painful for her. Because in order for glass to connect, you know how glass starts out? It's this squishy, really, really hot stuff. And then you have to melt it together and stuff to make glass warm. So that's what she's doing. She got the torch to glue the glass that she shattered and melt it back into place. And that's gonna be so painful. Is she trying to turn light bulb into a torch or something? I just explained it because glass melts and you need to melt glass together to put it back together. So was that necessary, Test Tube? It was not necessary, Test Tube. Test Tube, why? We're telling you why again, once more. Once more. This is not a good start. This is chapter 4. Let me remind you. This is chapter 4 and we're already getting into the gore. And oh my lord. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. So we're so close to finishing Light Bulb's pain. So let's just get this over with. Oh my god. She didn't care if she woke up back in the purgatory mansion. She just needed a break. When she woke up, a similar brightness made Lightbulb have to squint to see for her first few seconds of consciousness. Almost every part of her body was sore, but it was better than the torch she had just gone through. Upon trying to sit up, she realized she was still restrained to the table. The gag had been removed at some point, being placed on the tray where the removed chunks of glass had been. Why is Test Tube even doing this as a hobby or a side quest? She saw the light? I mean, she is light bulb, so I don't know. She saw the light. She woke up. She just woke up after passing out, after all of that pain. Oh, the pain was too much to bear, so she passed out. Oh, light bulb. Everyone just stay in little quotient things, little sparkle things, hugging light bulb in this fiction right now. We're hugging light bulb. Shine bright like a diamond. Yeah, yeah, shine bright. I'll play that after. I'll play that after this chapter. Actually, I'll play that just to refresh and hope like the copyright. I'll play the non-copyrighted version. If there is one, I don't know. But anyway, let's just read this. Lightbulb looked down where there was previously been a gaping hole, only to find it had been resealed. While the area was bandaged, you could still see the misshapen form of the area. Rough spots were easy to catch. The wires were still on their tray, meaning she now had some of her insides outside. It was an effort not to hurl just at that. Hello? Lightbulb croaked, remembering she can't talk again. No response. She was still tired and wanted to go back to sleep. However, her body was now deeming at the table that was perfectly fine to take a nap on before as a hazard. That and she was still horrified. Horrified by what had just happened to her. After a minute or two alone, test tube re-entered. "While you were passed out," she exclaimed, "I finished your surgery. You'll need a little to heal, so don't exert yourself. Now follow me, Ewan." Lightbulb felt the metal binds that had previously been locked snap open. Slowly, she got off the table. Every part of her had a bearably tolerate tolerable ache. Everything in her head was telling her to scream and run and attack the person who just removed a part of her, both physically and mentally. But instead, she trudged toward the door, unwillingly following the scientist. The walk was dead silent. Test Tube seemed perfectly content with it, though. That's how she had wanted it to be, right? Strangely enough, the walk felt the same length as it had been first time, the last time. Once they reached room 17, Testube unlocked the door and ushered Lightbulb in. "Lightbulb?" Soap asked upon seeing the door open. To Lightbulb's surprise, Soap was waiting in the white room, opposed to her own. The moment she saw Lightbulb say, Soap became distressed. "Lightbulb! What happened?" Lightbulb didn't say anything. She just limped into the small room. Soap rushed to support her weight, letting Lightbulb practically crash onto her. One of her first things Soap noticed was how violently she shook. What did she do to you?" she demanded fiercely, holding Lightbulb close and not tightly as worrisome. "What did you do to her?" she said. "It's simple. I removed all traces of electricity in her structure," Stoops said over the intercoms. "Wires and switches and such." Soap was left speechless, though Lightbulb knew everything without even looking. You monster!" Soap said shakily, though didn't get a response. She pulled Lightbulb closer. No words were disclosed between the two. For a while it had just been sitting with each other in the middle of the room. Nothing needed to be exchanged. Not now, at least. They both shared the mutual feeling of fear. Fear of what had happened and fear of what would happen. Neither of them broke the silence. What instead happened was a deposit opening up and sliding in a sandwich for soap. Lightbulb was only given a fourth of one, being that she just had undergone surgery. "I guess I should explain what happened while you were gone," Soap said. "Oh, wait." Seeing the silence was now broken. Wait a minute. Did Tester kidnap someone else? No, Soap's turn is next. Please spare her. She already had trouble. Can't have that again. We can't have that again. And I think Soap means that Tessa kidnapped someone else. And I don't know who that is. So let's just keep reading to see if she kidnapped someone else. And I don't know. This is not looking good. Hey, you don't have to talk about. Oh, wait, what the. Okay, let me reread that. Oh, okay. Oh, I started it about it. So, Soap said, seeing the silence was now broken. Lightbulb looked across the room, uncharismatically quiet. Soap was sitting on the extra mattress, eating her sandwich, while Lightbulb was sat on hers, though only stared at her food. "All right." Testube left me alone for a while, like until till night. When I woke up, I was here. She said you'd need some support, then slid breakfast in before leaving without an explanation. "Something she seems to be doing," Soap said. "I guess this is what she meant." Lightbulb nodded silently, picking up her sandwich. Not microphone, please. Okay. Luckily enough, test tube did not kidnap someone else. Luckily enough, but we're getting close to the end. So let's just see what happens. Okay, okay, let me reread this. I both nodded silently, picking up her sandwich, only to look at it. She got angry at me at the start of it because I tried to be nice to her. I mean, there was no point in not being nice. I thought she was my friend and that there was a half reasonable explanation to all of this, but hey, you don't have to talk about it now if you don't want to, Soap said. Take your time. Did you get rested last night? Lipo shook her head while she had passed out. Something told her that that wasn't what Soap was asking. I should go to sleep, she said, just how worn out her face was an answer to Soap's question. Soap solemnly nodded. Yeah, I didn't get good sleep last night either. Her voice might have not been as tired as Lightbulb's, though it was obvious that she was scared as she was. Do you want the lights off? Sure, Lightbulb said after thinking about it for a moment. All right, Soap said, flicking the light switch off. Flicking the light off. Okay, I think we're good here. Lightbulb and Soap need help. They need help! Someone call 911 if that even exists in this universe. Oh, we're on the last two sentences, and then we get discussion time. All right, Soap said, flicking the light off, so the only light was once the hall. She returned to her temporary mattress, though didn't get much rest there. When Test Tube went to drop off dinner, Soap was back at Lightbulb's side of the bed, sitting beside her, journaling silently. And that was chapter 4, Overmorrow of Hall 17. So, summary, um, um, Test Tube kidnapped Lightbulb and Soap, and now Test Tube gave surgery to Lightbulb after the first day of Lightbulb and Soap being kidnapped, and now Lightbulb's traumatized, and now she's not gonna be happy. She's just gonna be not too well, and Soap is just there, and she's just panicked. And now this is making us question, what will Test Tube do to Soap? Oh, what will she do to Soap? Next chapter about to be called Trauma, but with Soap. Next chapter is called S3. And if that chapter is called S3, and we know that Lightbulb D1, Soap's J2, S3, oh, it's a 3, I have bad vision, S3 is gonna be someone else. And that means Tessie's gonna kidnap someone else, probably. Why else would it be called S3? Does that mean more kidnapping? It does mean more kidnapping, I think. It means more kidnapping. Oh no, we're not ready. Let me read the first things. It's literally just a log of Test Tube. Oh my gosh. This is the first thing we start off this chapter with. I'm just gonna read the first chapter, and then we're just gonna have more discussion time. The surgery has been completed. E1 is recovering well physically, though shows signs of mental damage. When E1 was misbehaving on the day of surgery, I decided to punish her by reducing the amount of anesthesia I gave her, though perhaps I shouldn't have removed as much as I did. This makes me mad. No, it's gonna be another one of my faves. Just because why wouldn't it be? Why would it not be? Oh my gosh, who is it gonna be? Who is S3? S3. What does S even stand for? Why did Soap get J2? Why did Soap get J2? What does J have to do with her? Okay, I originally thought it was OJ gonna be kidnapped, but no. No, it's gonna be someone else. And we don't know who it is. We don't know who it is. Oh my gosh, we're cooked. Theory time. Duster is going to take out all of Soap's soap blood out of the soap. Oh, her blood is her soap. So she's just gonna literally drain. She's just gonna jab something in her and just wait for it to just all just absorb out. No, why am I saying that? That's worse. Oh my god. No. Oh my god. No. This is so bad. Not good at all. We are panicking. Okay. I have a few more minutes, like maybe 20 minutes, and I think. Let me see how long this chapter is. If I read at a consistent pace without interruptions, I might read 3. So, what do you think? Should we continue reading chapter 3? I mean, not chapter 3, chapter 5. Or like half of it at least. At least to the part to find out who gets kidnapped. Who will be the next victim of test tube? Let's spin the wheel. Continue. Okay. We will. I feel like someone like Salt will be next. I will continue. Yes, but I might not be able to stay for the entire time. In that case, I'll only read up until we find out who gets kidnapped. So yeah. Oh yeah, I also have to play that song. Actually, I don't want to get copyrighted. I don't know if that will get copyrighted or not. So yeah, we'll just play one of the recap songs as a refresher up to the end. So let's read. Since the day of the surgery, Ewan has been keeping quiet. When I give her her meal, she takes quite a while to eat it. Even with the small servings I've been giving her during the recovery from the surgery, I haven't been talking to the subjects as much recently. But a few times I have, Ewan cowers away. She always she also has been less energetic, though that was expected. J2 seems upset with this and refuses to talk to me. This may grow inconvenient for the future expectations, though the drastic change in personality and behavior is interesting. Very, very interesting. Not interesting. When you bake a cake, decorate and take it to the players who are saying that's how you know it's cake at stake. Now that's how I get rid of the trauma. That's nice. Okay. A couple other paintbrush paste around the hotel floor. 4 days. It had been 4 days since the party where a light bulb randomly disappeared, alongside with soap. 4 days since paintbrush stupidly assumed she was okay, even though they saw Fan go up to his room without her. And now there was no trace of light bulb anywhere. A couple others were sitting with him. Oh, are you talking about Paintbrush? Oh, Fan. They're talking about Fan. A couple others were sitting with him. OJ and Fan were standing idly next to each other. Both had concerned expressions on their face. They had set up a meeting between all the Hotel OJ's residents about the missing parties, but that wasn't until 30 minutes. Everyone else had come early. No, not Paintbrush. It's not gonna be Paintbrush. Hopefully not Paintbrush. There were a couple officers in the room there to collect information. Trophy was sitting on the couch, not doing anything in particular. Suitcase was on a chair next to the couch, though kept her distance. Salt and Pepper had passed through quietly a couple of minutes ago to the garden, but outside of that, everything was relatively down. Soon enough, more people began piling in. Van was one of the first objects to enter outside of the people who had been there earlier. Then knife, nickel, balloon, baseball. I read that out of order. Nickel, baseball, balloon, and pickle. Even Yin Yang was relatively quiet. Considering his usual chaotic nature, there was nervous whisper chatting between friends, but outside of that silence. They are so scared. They know this is not something normal for them. OJ's next. OJ's gonna be next? Is that what we're calling? Okay, make your final placements on who you think is gonna get kidnapped next. What I think it could be, so it's S3. S3 could be like for anyone's initials, but I think it's not for initials, but like ability. So, what ability is S? I'll think about it more after I read. I think solar pepper paper. Oh, I thought that was pepper. Paper is next, or pepper. I don't know, and I am scared. It's most likely not gonna be Fan because test tube actually really does consider Fan as a like, she said it herself that she couldn't do it to Fan because she saw too much of she knew him too personally for that. So, one man came in down the stairs. He noticed that unnerved Paintbrush was. "Hey," he said quietly. Paintbrush looked at him, at first angry, though their face quickly faded to a solemn tone. "It's okay. We're all worried." By the time the 30 minutes were up, almost everybody was there. Tissues came in a little late, alongside with test tubes last minute barge through the door. Of course, tested. She's gonna be suspicious if she wasn't there. OJ took a breath to calm himself before walking to the front of the room. Paper stood away to his side, though was still there for moral support. "I'm sure you all know why you've all been gathered here today," OJ said to the crowd. "As of last night's party, two of our friends have gone missing. I assure you that we are working as hard as we can to find them. I've invited you all here specifically to see if we could get any helpers in the search. The police would also like to interview some of you to gather data on what might have happened." The crowd tensed. There had been another time they've been involved with the law, and that was a few years ago, when MePhone was still hosting. That time, it hadn't been mystery, though. They knew what had happened to them happened then. This time, anybody could be behind the different disappearances. One by one, the officers will by the door will bring you in for interviews. While you're waiting, Paper and I will be going around seeing if you'd like to join the search. OJ paused for a moment. "I know is a stressful time for y'all. Two of our friends have been gone missing, but we'll get through this, together or apart. Now, I'll let the officers take it from here," OJ said, finishing his speech. Once the off I read too long. Oh my gosh. OJ said, finishing his speech. One of the officers, a quill, walked up to the front of in OJ's place. Paper welcomed OJ to the side of the crowd as the officer discussed exactly what their part of the plan was. Something about everybody staying in the living room while the others were interviewed. OJ certainly wasn't listening. "Hey, everything's going to be okay," Paper assured, gaining a half-hard smile from the other. "Just don't let it get to you, you know?" Got it," OJ said, close enough to Paper that their arms were touching. "So, don't overwork yourself, okay?" Paper said, though it was more of a statement than a question. OJ nodded to Paper, which held back a sigh. To a sigh. I think they meant a sigh. Page A. Yeah. Yeah, this is exactly what we need before someone gets kidnapped again. Once the cop finished his own speech, which we didn't read because, well, there is nothing to read for the cop's speech because I guess the author didn't want to make another speech. Once the cop finished his own speech, they began bringing people to a small office they had set up outside to interrogate them. People had began talking again, but cautiously. "What exactly happened when you guys last saw Lightbulb anyway?" Paintbrush asked, standing right next to the stairs. "Test tube brought us to her lab for the experiment, she said," Fan explained. "However, she accidentally hurt me when she opened the door I had been waiting outside of." He pointed to the barely noticeable tear on his forehead. "And I'm sorry about that," Test Tube said. "I had Fan leave, as there was exposed substances around that I don't want the risk the cut being infected by." "Don't act like you care about people, Test Tube. You lost all morals when you did surgery on your friend. So stop pretending you have morals." It was awfully close to his brain, though I do guess I overreacted a little. I had Lipo leave with him, and that's the last I saw of her. You didn't check to see if she was okay? Neither of you did? Paper said angrily, bringing attention to their group. Well, no, but I thought she knew her way back. We both did. Guys, please calm. Well, you should have at least walked back with her. Test tube's lab is in the woods. You could easily get lost there. Why do you two think your petty little dispute is worth more than light bulb? At this point, Painter's hair was beginning to spark, turning to light on fire at some spark. Light bulb, paintbrush hair sparks, and it's S3. It's gonna be paintbrush. Oh no, it's gonna be paintbrush. Oh no. You just tortured light bulb and you're favorites. Playing favorites, and it's gonna be paintbrush because their ability sparks fire, so it's gonna be paintbrush. I think it's gonna be paintbrush now. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Test tube brought a specifically the memory. At this point, Van, a police officer interrupted. You're next in line. Please follow me. The three went quiet. Van walked away with the officer, looking back at Paintbrush and Test Tube, both of which were upset in their own ways. Even when Van looked back forward, the two watched him until he left through the front door. I hope you know part of this is your fault, Paintbrush said before storming off into the bathroom. Test Tube stood in the middle of the room, eyes on her. She knew it was her fault. She meant for it to be her fault. It's it's what needed to happen. But why did she feel so regretful now? Why only now of all times? Test didn't know how long she stood there, but she only moved when she brought into the interrogation. She wasn't seen again in the hunt hell until dinner. Oh my gosh. Oh, let me roll. Okay, well, there was a bunch of. Oh no. Oh. Oh no. Okay. The residents of Hotel OJ walked around, trying to keep calm about the situation as possible. OJ and Paper were still sitting at the kitchen table, one helping the other with paperwork. Paper, I'm fine, really. It's just a couple extra pages, OJ assured, though Paper didn't agree. It's also extra stress. I can tell how much this situation is affecting you, alright? Besides, it's not like I have much else to do, Paper said, reading. Paper said reading, though an unsigned document before handing it to OJ. I'm stressed, okay? I'm stumbling on the words because I'm scared. Here, this one needs your signature. Paper, I'm serious. I've been managing this hotel since the end of season 1. I have enough experience to handle a bit of a situation. This isn't new to both of us. I promise I'll let you go back to your usual work after this settles down. Paper looked back at OJ, who sighed before caving in. Fine, just let me do documents. Most of them are property owners' signatures anyway, OJ said, sliding the papers that were in front of him of paper to his side of the table. All right, I'll go clean up some things. We haven't been doing as well as in the department lady. Department lady. I am so tired. Can we get to the kidnapping yet? No? Okay. Paper stood up and walked towards the staff area. Just don't do the towels, alright? OJ half yelled at him. I know, you have a very specific way of doing them. Don't worry, Paper yelled back. I'll leave them for you to do that later. Test Tube watched the whole ordeal from the hotel's corner. Oh no, it's gonna be Paper. Oh no, I'm switching that. It's gonna be Paper. It's because I don't even know. I'm just saying anyone because I am scared. I am scared. This story is personally attacking me. Oh, yeah, it is. I said just like, hey, have you heard of BFDI fan? And then they're just like, the author of this was just like, yeah. And then it was just gonna like, I wrote this to this specifically for them, to just scare them. Page 8, paper on I love. paper. I think it's brush or paper side. It's gonna be someone. And if we don't get there, oh my gosh, we're so scared. Okay, we got this. Okay. Testy watched the whole ordeal from the hotel's corner. She had had been watching quietly while writing down notes for later. This next move was going to be risky, a big risk. So Test2 would normally back off, but she couldn't this time. If she didn't manage to get OJ next, it's OJ! Oh no! It's OJ! It's OJ! It's OJ! Ah! It's OJ. Oh, it's OJ! It's OJ! It was OJ. Fire, fire called it. Let me pull it up. Fire called it. Fire called it. What the heck? Who's gonna do the towels? Yeah, paper can't handle this. This is gonna be like Inanimate Insanity Invitational when they basically went missing and they didn't have any way to contact people at the hotel that they weren't on a vacation. They were just being forced to do a competition again. Oh, flashbacks, 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 flashbacks. My lord. Oh my gosh. Who's At least it's not paintbrush. That's good. Or someone else gets kidnapped instead. I don't know. Let's just keep reading a little. She didn't know what she would do with soap. Then why the flip would you kidnap soap if you didn't know what to do with soap? She didn't know what to do with soap. Paper's depression arc. It's so real for that though. OJ must have heard her footsteps. Oh wait, no. Fuck. Okay. I'm stressed. Okay. J2. Her name is J2. Damn it. Test tube shook off the feeling and looked back. Everybody had stopped paying attention to OJ, so now was probably the best time to strike. She walked up to him, hiding her clipboard contents by holding it close to her chest. OJ must have heard her footsteps as he turned around when she came close. Oh, hello, Test tube, he said before looking back at the document. Hello there, OJ, Testu said, putting a friendly demeanor. Are you busy right now? I'd like to show you something. I am, actually. If you didn't notice the pile of papers in front of me, OJ said, gesturing towards the papers. Testu had been expecting that answer, being that she had just watched the entire conversation with paper. Oh, okay. Do you have any time to spare later then? Testu said, then in a lower voice. It has to do with ongoing situation. OJ looked her in the eyes, then asked, could you clarify a little? Of course! Sorry, that was a little vague, Testube said. Her voice had dropped to a whisper. I'm trying to make a device to track the others down. I figured you'd be the best one to talk to about it. OJ looked at her as if she said something weird. Well, to be fair, he and Testube rarely spoke. Requests like that would be I talked too long. Blech. Two's depression arc, Paper's depression arc. Wait, what if, since OJ is busy, Testu will take Paper since they're cleaning alone? Well, in this situation, she's bribing him to not do that. So, like, later, oh my gosh, let's just read this. OJ looked back at her, looking like she's her as if she said something weird. Well, to be fair, him and Testu rarely talked. A request like that would be suspicious, especially at a time like this. And why not one of your friends first? We don't exactly know each other apart from our own short time on the Invitational. Oh! The Invitational? Invitational. So this is after season 3. Okay, it's clarified. The author is a time traveler. The author is a time traveler. The author is a time traveler. Unless I'm going insane. When did I feel like Invitational ended in March last year, right? So I guess the timeline for this. Let me check the. Let me check. Oh flip! I restarted the thing. I restarted the thing. Let me give me a second. I'm doing something right now. This came out of June 12th. What episode was the newest one then? Oh my gosh. This is a weird timeline. Okay. Okay, let me try to do something. I'm trying to find something. First episode came out 3 years ago. That's crazy to think about. Oh my gosh. June 12th was the thing. I don't know. Okay, the individual. I feel like Test Tube and them would have been eliminated by then. But then Paintbrush also was eliminated by then. But then, like, after Paintbrush was eliminated, Candle was eliminated, and then it was Bot, right? It was Paintbrush, then Candle, then Bot. I might be going insane with that order. I don't know. Um. Yeah. Okay, we'll just go a little. I don't want to stress Paintbrush about it. They're already bothered enough. Besides, their anger issues have gotten worse a longer she's been gone, Testu said solemnly. And even though it's me and Fan technically made up, still feel like he's mad at me about it, especially after listening to Paintbrush's outburst later. OJ thought for a moment. Why choose me to talk to then? Well, why would you have done it? Test tube said rhetorically. You have no reason to. It would only bring your hotel's reputation down. Soap helped you with cleaning it anyway. Why would you want her gone? She sounded a little impatient with all the questioning. I'll clear sometime later today, maybe tomorrow. I'll knock at your lab door, he said, already looking back at the sheets. Sounds good? I can manage that. See you then. Test tube said before walking away. Perfect. It had been a little hard keeping her temper in, but now she had her third subject, about to deliver himself to her lab. Morbid, sure, but test tube had already crossed the line a long time ago. But isn't that a bad thing? Test tube paused halfway through the walk back to her laboratory, so was having these thoughts again. She knew what she was doing was wrong, but the constant small reminder in the back of her head got annoying after a while. She knew it was wrong. She had come to acceptance with that once she first talked to her friends at the anniversary party. Testy was eliminated 2 years ago, and Patrish was the same. OJ, no! Rip OJ paper about to be doing the towels the wrong way. No, I mean, OJ said he will go to her lab in a few hours or tomorrow. So like, paper isn't cooked yet. I think maybe, unless OJ forgets to do the towels and then it's showed paper. This is how I think it's gonna play out. I'm not reading from it right now. I'm just gonna act it out right now. It's gonna be like, OJ, where are you? And then he's gonna be like, OJ, you still have to do the towels. Did you forget? He looks all over for OJ, and then he just goes to the room. He's like, they took him, and then yeah, it's it's 12:16 right now. For okay, well we know that OJ is gonna be abducted, so we can leave it at that for right now. So yeah, let me just finish test tubes thing. She knew it was wrong. She had to come to acceptance with that once she first talked to her friends at the anniversary party. It hadn't stopped bugging her, though. In fact, it had begun to be more and more present around when she did E1's surgery. Her moral constantly arguing with every step she took towards scientific discovery. She knew it was wrong already, and that she'd be hated for it if anybody found out. That's exactly why she had to keep moving forward. She already crossed the line. The only thing she could do now was keep moving forward. It wasn't a choice now. She had to do this. You have to do this, test tube. You have to. Just keep moving forward. Keep moving. A knock sounded from the entrance of her lab. Test tube snapped out of her trance, realizing that she had begun pacing around the room. The, the knock repeated itself. "Who's there?" Test tube shouted up the entrance door. "It's me, OJ. You asked me to meet me a while ago," he said. "Oh, OJ's getting to his grave." What if test tube finds someone else while waiting for AJ and kidnaps them? How dare AJ be doomed in this? Oop, never mind. Oh, cooked. AJ's cooked. If they weren't cooked already during like a third of the II movie, then they're even more cooked. No, because it's sad to know that Paper was there with OJ's corpse for like hours, just like in denial that he's actually just gone. So that's kind of sad. That's really sad. What am I saying? That's really sad. Oh my gosh. But didn't you, test tube said before cutting her sentence short. Just hop in, she said, pressing the button to open the entrance. Hop in where? Oh, never mind, OJ said, sliding into the room through the tube. That's a weird entrance. Why did you choose a vending machine? It was supposed to be a secret, though. Everybody figured it out in season 2, thanks to a Jeeb Weezer. What does a Jeeb Weezer mean? I want to know. I kind of want to know. I know it's like a slur, but still. A vending machine is in the middle of the woods. It's kind of obvious, you know? Let's just get going, Test Tube said. Where are we going anyways? This place looks huge, OJ said. Do you even know own this property? This is Do you even own the property of this? For a second, for your second question, this isn't on property, Test Tube said, opening one of the doors. And for your first question, we're going to where I built the machine. It's a little deep into the lab, but it was a safety measure. Now it's just pay. It's just pay. Just pay. Just pay because the J is now gone. OJ looked at Test Tube hesitantly. So he was in her secret lab after she invited him over to show him her her machine made to find two people who were just went missing. And now, despite possibly being one of the most suspicious people here, she was inviting him deeper into the laboratory as if it wouldn't put him in danger. Come on, I don't have all day. Well, I'm already here anyway. I may as well, OJ said, walking towards the door. Stoop smiled before closing it behind him and guiding him through some sort of room. Some of the rooms. What am I doing? Why am I singing? OJ, you're cooked. OJ's cooked. I am just humming, singing a little tune, trying to make this more positive, but it's not working. He's cooked. He is absolutely cooked. Oh, he's so cooked right now. He's so cooked. He was cooked as soon as he went to the vending machine. Oh no, the hotel is literally gonna be in shambles. Paper's gonna be so stressed the whole time. Oh no. You can't run like So could've. You can't run like So could've. He's willingly going into the oh my gosh. Test Tube had mixed feelings as she walked further into the building. Regret, nervousness, apprehension, but at the same time, a determination to continue. Excitement, even. They swirled in her head until she stood in front of Hall 17. She had to. There was no turning back at this point. Her hands fumbled around with keys, unsure on if she wanted to continue with this. So, this is it, OJ said, reading the sign over a couple of times. Yes, Testube said. There was no emotion in her voice. None at all that she opened and unlocked the door. Despite how she sounded, the determination had ultimately won. Soap sat patiently on her bed. Sounds of light bulbs scribbling away in her notebook filled the room. And done. Are you ready to see it? Lightbulb announced. Ever since that day, Lightbulb hadn't exactly been herself. That it was to be expected, sure, but it was still such a sudden shift in personality. She moved around in concerning amount, being that she was still technically in convalescing, but Soap had gl- was glad the mood had been lifted after what happened. Sure, show me. All right, here. Lifted the paper to the window. On the paper was a red crab, little smile drawn beneath its eyes. The name Baxter was written below the crab and underlined. It was amazing craftsmanship, but it had more effort behind it than some of the other pictures Lightbulb had drawn. The conversation had originally started when Lightbulb brought up her pet crab. Well, she had lent it to Paintbrush when they were eliminated, but she still visited it on a regular basis. Baxter's so sad. It's Baxter. We're so close to finishing this. I found him in episode 11 when I was looking for the golden coin. What golden coin? Oh my gosh, she's so silly. And she's been tortured, so now this is just, she has trauma. Michael said, staring off into the distance. I'm sure Painty is taking care of him, though. Before Soap could think of a response, the already familiar sound of the hall's door open echoed through both of their rooms. Soap watched both her and Lightbulb doors on guard. Lightbulb had walked closer to the wall, holding onto it for comfort as she kept her eyes on the open. No, no, no. A little bit of talking. It was quiet, and was quickly drowned out by the sound of Lightbulb's door unlocked. Lightbulb shook a little, still unnerved from what happened a couple of days ago. To her surprise, it not only test tube, but also OJ standing outside. OJ looked startled when he first saw Lightbulb. You couldn't blame him, though. Was just as surprised as he was, and looked like she might pass out any moment. Test tube took the moment to push OJ into the room and properly closed the door behind him. Huh? What? OJ started, trying to hold the situation. He looked around, observing everything. Soap had walked over to the window and was watching with a concerned look. Lightbulb was still in the corner, though less tense than before. OJ pinched himself. Where am I? He said, looking at Lightbulb and Soap. Where are you two here the last 5 days? Lightbulb nodded, stepping out of the corner after realizing there wasn't any threat. Yep, her face said uncharismatically defeated, like she had accepted it already. Welcome to the lab, Soap said soberly, a little bit more angry, as well as the sound of it. So, test tube was the one who did it. Oh, Lightbulb, no. Lightbulb, no. Okay, we're so close to the end of this chapter. Oh no. So, test tube was the one who did it, OJ said, looking behind him as if it might have changed. But why? What's the point of this anyway? Soap and Lightbulb stiffened up as at the question. Lightbulbs tried to say, but she couldn't find the right words. She held her drawing in her arms, carefully hugging it. Lab rats. Soap choked, looking away from the other two. That's not funny, Soap. What happened? OJ said, though didn't get his next answer from her. She's not lying, Lightbulb said, sitting down on her bed. I would know. She looked down at the bundle of bandages around her waist. With a question mark. They were on tightly, so you could see all the mishap bumps and spikes through it. Her eyes were a little teary. OJ didn't know what to say. He was horrified. Like the girl who he couldn't get to calm down in the mornings at the hotel, who was constantly cheering others up in her own confusing ways. She was here, in this room, scared, crying. OJ's stomach did a backflip, thinking about what could have caused such a reaction. And you guys are just here? Have you tried bleeding yet? OJ asked, trying not to panic. We've tried, but there isn't exactly much to try in this place. Test tube didn't take many risks security-wise, Soap said. She looked down as well, though not quite as down as Lightbulb. I OJ couldn't think of anything else fitting to say at the moment. He sat on the ground. I think I need a moment to think about this. Lightbulb nodded, setting the paper down beside her before sitting down herself. Soap grabbed a notebook and pencil from her shelf and began writing about something. Take your time. We can be patient. And that's how it ends. That's how it ends. And that's how it ends. for chapter 5. Okay, now we have 50 more to go, and I'm not gonna read all of them on this stream because that would literally take hours. And I'm sure no one has time for that. So yeah, that's all we're reading for right now. Next chapter is called Plans. I sob. Well, I have to go, but it was fun listening to this story. Can't wait for more story. Justice for the rats, as they were called. I'm speechless. Bye, bye, BFDI fan. Bye. Okay, so, any song requests to play after that in the background? Actually, I think Fire will like this one. Fire, I think you should recognize this one. It's the first thing that popped up. I'm sorry.
Welcome to Meeple. As you enter the facility, please take a word from our CLC call.
It's Fire's beautiful voice singing "The Future Is So Yesterday." Furry, 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 furry. Excuse me? What? What is going on? Okay, let's just find an actual song. So, yeah. Discussion, basically, summary. Test tube kidnapped OJ as well. So now, that happened, and now we're sad. That was random. Was me playing you singing "The Future Is So Yesterday" random? I didn't know that. Yeah, it was kind of random. Sorry if that disturbed you. But also the furry. Are you trying to tell me I'm a furry? Because I don't think I am. I don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't think so. No. Were you just saying random stuff? You just enter a stream and this is the first thing you type? So yeah. Great. Hall 17. The 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 fan fiction that I wish I known more about before reading. I should have should have really read the what is it called? The blurb before this. Okay. Well, the recommended on the keyboard. Wait, what? What was recommended on the keyboard? The recommended on the keyboard. You mean like the video was I could show you my recommendations. Most of them are concerning though. Look. We got it right there. We got Fire's version with their amazing voice. Are you in choir? Because your voice is so good. Yeah, a lot of stuff. And that's mainly my alt though. My real account, it's I only have an alt account that's called Soul, and then I have a real account that is Sonny, and then I'm pretty sure I'm gonna upload the episode 1 of Holiday Run on Soul. So yeah. Anyway, that was pretty much it. So what did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of Hall 17? So it's literally so late right now for me. It's about to be midnight. And so I must be going. And I will definitely continue this. Traumatizing, but in a good way. Yeah. Nothing like reading gory fanfiction on a stormy night in America. For me, at least. I don't know. You guys in the world could be anywhere. So yeah, that was it. I will definitely continue reading this, but like not anytime soon, like tomorrow. I don't think I will have time tomorrow because I have my own little plans going on. So yeah. Hall 17. That was that was traumatizing. Um pat patting a light bulb on the head, giving her a hug, giving her cookie pizza. She deserves it. Oh, sweetie. Oh, light bulb. Oh, sweetie. Yeah. So, did you hear there's a fear garden too? No. There's a fear garden too. No. I don't know what that is. Sorry. So, that was it. So, I hope you enjoyed this stream and I will see you maybe in the next one. So, yeah. Bye. Let me pull up my banner real quick. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Bye.